You, me, and HIFMB. Stories of Science and the Sea.
Hello everybody and welcome to the next episode of the HIFMB podcast again. Back from the summer break and the summer interruptions. Today I bring to you Merdeka Agus Saputra, a PhD student from Indonesia. He works on the benthic geopolitics project, which formerly was a focus group by Kate Samler and now has joined forces with the governance group of Kim Peters. In there we talk about his fieldwork in Indonesia and his work with tin divers, so divers that recover tin ores, the metal from the seabed, and the work he does when it comes to the seabed and the geopolitics around the seabed. So he does work on undersea cables, tin mining, as we said, and much more, and he constantly flips perspectives in his work. So he applies a feminist geopolitics lens onto the tin diving, and also a volumetric approach, so where he takes the perspective of the diving cave. So it's a very interesting way of narrating and storytelling. And he actually won an award with it at the Mare conference. He won Best Student Paper. So yeah, reason enough to listen in and learn more about this paper and about the author behind it. So without further ado, I give you Merdeka Agus Saputra. Hello everybody and welcome to the next episode of the HIFMB podcast. And today I have Merdeka Agus Saputra from Indonesia with me.
Hello Jan, thank you very much for having me here.
No worries.
So excited.
Yeah, yeah, for me as well. So you're a PhD student here at the Institute?
Yes, I'm a PhD student here at HIFMB, and my focus group is Marine Political Ecology Focus Group. Mm-hmm. And I'm doing my PhD research projects called benthic geopolitics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the focus group that is led by Kate Samler, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right now, because Kate moved to Twente,
yeah.
Now the group is under Kim supervision, under Kim's.
Yeah, right. Okay. So with the governance group. Together.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. All right. So what's your PhD on? So you just said benthic political ecology?
Benthic geopolitics,
Geopolitics, sorry. Benthic geopolitics. Can you explain a little bit what that is?
Thank you. So benthic geopolitics is actually trying to add benthic in analyzing geos in geopolitics. So when it comes to geopolitics, especially in human geography or political geography and other studies, they are now focusing on the material side, which is the geo. Mm-hmm. And the geo has been defined as elemental or geologic space, while benthic encompasses not only elemental space or geologic space, but other material, temporal, technological, and also spatial dimensions. So I want to add that in this geopolitical analysis. So basically, then because benthic means anything related to or occurring on the seabed, so I focus on the seabed utilization, like offshore tin mining, undersea cables, undersea pipeline, and tin diving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned before when we talked off the air, basically, that this thing benthic is a very scientific or natural sciences word and hasn't really been applied in the humanities yet, but you're using it now.
Absolutely, yes. So that is also the plan, so adding the benthic concept into humanity or human geography, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
That is the idea of this work.
Yeah, and you brought a paper today which is called, or not a paper yet, it's a PhD chapter of yours, which focuses on the tin mining that you mentioned before. So tin, the metal, the element. And the chapter for now is called Volumetric, Embodied and Granular Geopolitics of the Seabed, Offshore Tin Mining in Indonesia.
Yes.
So I imagine that hits very close to home with you being Indonesian. And can you explain a little bit how the chapter was created and how the idea came about?
Yes, so the idea is it was because I was doing my fieldwork in Indonesia, specifically of Bangka and Belitung Island, where I follow tin divers and geologists, and in my fieldwork, I encountered tin divers who dive into the seabed cave, they call, like the big hole under the seabed or called previously mined seabed.
Yeah.
So they dive into this seabed cave to recover tin ores or critical mineral for electronic device manufacturers and also weaponry industries. However, why I get inspired from this mundane or everyday activity of tin divers diving into the seabed is because their story has been mostly occluded in the geopolitical interventions, like in the international tin market or even in our regulatory interventions, although they are contributing to national economic income through selling their tin ores. That is one of the inspirations.
Cool, really cool.
From them.
I mean, not that I work in tin much, but I certainly haven't heard about it, and certainly not that there are actually divers, so humans who recover it just with very rudimentary diving gear, right?
Yes. They actually use different types of diving gears, like conventional diving gears, like air compressors, and also breathing pipes, and also suction pipes. So breathing pipe and suction pipes. So they use air compressor and that they connect with the breathing pipe, so they can breathe under the water, under the sea, and then they vacuum the ocean floor or on vacuum the seabeds, the seabed cave, to actually get the seabed sediments, including the tin ores.
Yeah. And you've interviewed them quite a lot, right? The tin divers.
Yes, I interviewed them quite a lot, and also I conducted participant observation where I joined on their wooden raft. So they have wooden raft, and then with this wooden raft they put the air compressors and all the diving equipment. So I also use this GoPro camera. I mounted my GoPro camera with anti-water or waterproof accessories, put it on them, and they dive into the seabed pit or seabed cave. So I try to understand how they encounter the seabed.
And what were your main findings? So what was the main thing that you took away from those interviews?
So from this interview and from the participant observations, I tried to focus on the three aspects of tin diving. First, I focus on their bodies, so tin divers' bodies, how they feel, the pressure, the temperature, and also the risk of getting buried under the sea or under the seabed, because it's very precarious wall of the seabed. It can, collapse anytime. And then secondly, I focus on the volumetric space of the seabed cave that is very inaccessible for many people, including even like regulatory intervention. So we know that regulatory interventions, I argue here, that it also ceases to apply when it comes to the volumetric space, because it only governed on the surface. And the last one is I focus on the geologic materiality, which is the tin ore itself, that has the agency or the capability of influencing things or process. So the tin ore actually inspire or encourage tin divers to find the tin ore. So instead of, for example, complying with marine special planning regulations, they actually comply more with the tin ore. So I look at these three partite.
It's a really cool. I've never seen this type of study or this type of writing or this type of approach being done in a piece of writing, where you at first focus on the body perspective, then on the volumetric perspective of the cave, and then of the geologic perspective of the ore, so of the tin. It's really cool. That's really nice. You should read it if it when it comes out. I think currently it's under revision. You're trying to publish it?
Yes, it's been like a struggle, of course. As a PhD students, I try to incorporate all the feedback from the reviewers, so it's still under review. So wish me luck. Hopefully I can put this in publication, and hopefully audience here can read and enjoy the article.
Absolutely they will. It's such a cool, unique way of storytelling, or I don't know if it's storytelling.
Yeah, exactly, storytelling. It's about storytelling here.
Okay, great, nice.
So the story that has been made invisible, so we try to make it visible.
Exactly. So what you mentioned before is in classical geopolitical approaches, this perspective has been obscured and flattened, the conflicts that occur on the seabed.
definitely. Yeah.
So you mentioned that they render the space two-dimensional and inanimate. Oh, that's a
Inanimate.
yeah, inanimate. That's the one.
That word. Actually, thanks to Kim. Kim actually gave me that word out to describe that.
Yeah, right. And now you're making it more. You're putting more dimensions into this. This is really cool.
Yes. So I think I need to clarify what we mean by classic geopolitics here.
Yeah, exactly.
So the classic geopolitics here is basically country or state interventions like marine spatial planning or OECD. This is like the organizations, international organizations where they have international tin buyer members and also countries that import tin ores from Bangka Belitung Island. So through their, for example, through marine spatial planning, of course, they convert the seabed into a flat two-dimensional space. But when you look at the tin diving experience, you understand that there is a cave as well. And this cave is not like lifeless or what we call terra nullius or no man's land. There is actually people there in this cave.
Yes.
But it has not been well documented officially. There is no report, so you cannot find any report about tin diving, especially official one. So there's NGO report about the accident of the tin diving, but we cannot find like it's really hard to find like official report, like article that really discuss this intimate experience between tin diving and the seabed cave. So I tried to provide different perspective that, to go beyond the flat representation of the MSP map towards the experience of the tin divers on everyday basis.
Yeah. Who were the tin divers mostly? Are they largely Indonesian or?
They are largely Indonesians. They are largely even indigenous people that actually rely their life or their livelihood on tin ore production.
Yeah.
So they are indigenous people in Indonesia.
Okay.
The ones that always get the regulatory interventions but never been heard before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to change that.
Yeah, we try to change that with this article, hopefully.
Yeah, that's good. Do you know how long tin mining has been going on for in this way?
In this way, it's been ages, I would say. Yeah, right. Because first of all, we have to talk about the history of tin mining. So tin mining has been existing since Sriwijaya Kingdom, and then Sriwijaya Kingdom, one of the kingdom in Indonesia, has been subdued by the British Empire, and then further it was Bangka and Belitung Island were traded to Dutch Empire or Dutch East Indies, if you will. And then through this colonial empire, they actually employ the tin divers, in the indigenous Malay people on this island, and also Chinese people. But the Chinese people, they were tasked to actually identify the tin ores, and then the divers were the indigenous people themselves.
Right.
And these practices had been carried out up to the present, but maybe the difference is the technology and also the capacity or the capability of accessing the seabed.
So now you said that the tin divers, they're largely using compressors and like air hoses to dive, so they're not really using normal recreational diving gear, or? No,
they don't have this recreational diving gear or modern diving gear, so they really use conventional rudimentary diving gears. Yeah.
And they don't. I'm sure that then they don't follow normal diving security protocols.
They don't follow the good practices of diving, like recreational diving. But indeed, there are some like NGOs on this island that they care for the health and the safety of tin divers. Some of them are doing community service to educate tin divers on how to avoid, for example, decompression. So they share this kind of knowledge in order to reduce decompression sickness risks and also other physiological risks from everyday diving.
You mentioned before they dive every day.
They
Except
dive
Fridays.
except Friday, because Friday is like a Muslim Friday prayer, something like that. So they do not work on Friday, but on the other days, on the everyday basis, they work from 7 a.m. to 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just-
under the sea.
Yeah, just diving up and down. And,
Yes,
yeah.
just diving up and down.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting when you also know how they actually know when they get the tin ores,
Mhm.
because they have signs.
Okay.
So what they do is basically 3 members.
Mhm.
One is a divers,
Mhm.
and the 2 persons on the wooden raft.
Mhm.
Their roles are to look at the quality of the tin ores, and also to make sure that there is no police officers
Oh.
going around, for example, something like that.
Yeah.
And then when the people, like when their members, their diving crews on the surface actually look at the sediments, and the sediments becomes black in color,
Mhm.
that means it contains tin ore.
Ah.
So what they do is they will give a sign to the tin divers on the seabed by how do you call this, like bending, by bending the pipe
Oh.
4 times.
Okay.
The more, like the maximum is 4 times.
Yeah.
So 4 times means that this mining site, the seabed, contain a lot of tin ores.
Mhm.
And this also actually very risky, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I do not know when somebody actually bend your breathing pipe.
Yeah.
For me, I will feel anxious
Yeah.
and crazy, under the seabed. But for them, it's different perspective, because when their friends, their mining crews, their diving crews,
Yeah.
give this sign, they feel more motivated, so they fuck you more and more, so they go deeper and deeper, so they dig deeper and deeper on this seabed cave.
Okay.
But consequently, because they are too motivated, sometimes they say that we forget that we actually under the sea and under the seabed, and have the risk of getting buried alive
Oh shit.
under the seabed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine there's a lot of sicknesses going on as well, and a lot of decompression sickness or problems with ears and.
Yes, they suffer from ear infection, ear impairment, and also stroke, heart attacks, and maybe also because of the physiological problem from going to the seabed cave on their daily basis. That's actually from marine ecologists that I interview, because one of the marine ecologists who work as a coral reef restoration, who work to basically restore the coral reef. I mean, he told me that the tin divers suffer from this kind of health problem, from stroke and heart attack, numbness, and ear impairment.
Yeah. Wow, that's insane. And I noticed in your CV, which we're going to talk about in a second, that you from March 2019 to August 2019, you worked as a governance researcher for the Responsible Mineral Initiative, and already worked on tin mining way before your PhD.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was employed by Responsible Mineral Initiative. It is a coalition of electronic device company members. So they build this kind of like coalition or organizations, and they are trying to map and identify the stakeholders of the offshore tin mining operations, and also good practices of the offshore tin mining operation, because offshore tin mining operations for them is quite new, because mostly they focus on land-based mining, not offshore tin mining. So, I was working to map the stakeholders and also potential good practices that could sustain this industry. But it's quite weird right now. What we mean by good practices here is also something that is very debatable.
Yeah.
as I enter my PhD.
Yeah. Where did you do that as a governance researcher? Was that in Indonesia as well?
I was employed by the United States organization. So this organization is based at the United States of America. They were allowing us to work remotely, so we could do the research remotely and provide the report to them from our research.
Okay, since we already moved into your paper, is under review, like you said, currently, and will be out in the coming months probably, and you
Hopefully.
yeah, exactly. No, it will be.
Bismillah.
No, and you can read all about it. I mean, the audience can read all about it. So for now, let's chat about your life. So your academic career started in 2011 when you started your bachelor's?
Yes.
Yeah.
So my bachelor was focusing on aquaculture and fisheries and marine, so much more natural science.
Yeah.
When I was in my bachelor,
Mhm.
but then at that time I did my thesis or like bachelor thesis
Okay.
on marine sea pollution. So I tried to look at the pollutions in one of the sea in my island, and afterward I found that I collected a lot of data, but
Yeah.
I didn't know what is going on, why the marine pollutions keeps going on, and how the regulatory interventions and the policymakers work on, for example, reducing the marine pollution here. So I was so curious about this kind of like regulatory interventions and the governance behind the marine pollutions. And in 2016, I continued my master study in Wageningen University and Research, the Netherlands. So then I shifted from natural science to marine governance.
Yeah.
Also dealing with the benthic ecosystem. At that time, I focused on lobster fishery, illegal lobster fishery, and try to understand why the regulatory intervention failed to reduce illegal lobster fishing in Indonesia. And from that moment, because I engaged with the seabed from this illegal lobster fishery, I then applied for this project, benthic geopolitics, because lobster is also about benthic ecosystems.
Absolutely,
so, yeah. That is basically how I end up here at SIFM, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but you mentioned during your bachelor's you did it at an island or your island that you
Yes.
mentioned. I'm very bad with Indonesian geography. Is Surabaya is an island?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Surabaya is within the island of Java.
Okay.
So it's Java, East Province. Yeah.
And is that where you're from as well?
I'm from the small town called Bojonegoro. It is about 3 hours from Surabaya.
Okay.
And I don't live in the small town.
Yeah.
I live in the village within the small town.
Okay.
So nobody knows about this town, let alone my village.
Okay. And so then you moved away from home quite early in your bachelor's career.
Yes.
Or in your academic career.
Yes,
Yeah.
I applied for a scholarship and I got the scholarship and then went far away from my town.
Yeah. Talking about the scholarships, I mean, for being a PhD student quite young in your academic career, you've gotten a lot of grants and scholarships and awards. So like something like the most recent one being the Douglas Clyde Kong Shui Wilson.
I think it's really hard to pronounce even for me. I think it's Swedish. I don't know. Dennis work?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, it's from Mare Conference. I actually applied for this marine, like Mare Prize. They call it Mare.
Okay.
Mare Prize, student prize competitions for this paper actually that we were discussing about.
All right.
And then I just submitted that and I didn't expect for anything. If I won, then let it be. If not, then nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And then during the dinner of the conference, they announced that I won the prize, which actually I didn't attend the dinner because I was with my kid at the hotel. Then and Andrea and also the host of the dinner called me and then said that, Merdeka, you won the prize. Please come here. I was
That's
like,
so cool.
yeah, so I didn't expect that. Yeah. Didn't go with expectation to win.
So yeah, it was the best student paper award.
Yes.
Yeah, 2023.
Yes.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How old is your kid?
My kid, the first one, my elder son is 3 years old, and the youngest one is 1 year right now.
All right.
Yeah. I have 2 kids. Yeah.
Nice. So then moved to the Netherlands for your masters.
Yes.
Was that your first time living out of Indonesia or living away from Indonesia?
I was going for a couple of student exchange before during my bachelor degree.
Okay.
So I went to Singapore, Thailand, and also Japan for student exchange program. So
Oh, yeah,
that
okay.
was my
Yeah.
first internationally
Yeah.
exposure.
Okay. Yeah. Well traveled, and
And
again.
And Europe, but the Netherlands is the first time for me to be living in Europe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
How was that experience?
it was incredible. I love the Netherlands so much,
Yeah?
and the people. Yeah, I still made very great friends,
Nice.
some great friends there, and we still been in touch up to today.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Did you live in Wageningen or?
yeah. I live in Wageningen,
Nice.
and it was my first time as well to learn about what marine governance is. It's
Yeah,
something that
okay.
I don't know before.
Yeah.
I didn't know before because we didn't have the term marine governance in our language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, like you got quite early in your career, again, you got a research grant from 2012 to 2015, a Directorate of Higher Education, and it was for your undergrad research program.
Yes.
And what did you do with it?
So Indonesian government has what they call PKM. So it's like a national student research competition. So
Okay.
we could apply for this grant to get funding for any research. So I did research, for example, in grouper fish at that time because I focused on the aquaculture. So I tried to find a way of improving the growth of the grouper fish at that time. So I submitted that proposal to the government, and the government actually accepted, and
Nice.
then we received the grant from the government, and from that moment then I kept applying, so collecting more grants every now and then, and perform the laboratory research.
Interesting. And then also, like you mentioned, you also moved to Singapore for an exchange or internship. What was it?
It was a student exchange program. It's called the first Asian International Conference or workshop. And the topic at the time that I focus on is about like managing the Mekong Delta in Vietnam, the health of the Mekong Delta River at that time, and how we also talk about like mangrove habitat conservation, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I barely remember what was going on
Yeah, it's
with
a
that
long time ago.
conference.
And what about Japan? What did you do there?
Oh, Japan, I was trained for Euyuke Masera isolation. So we tried to isolate the protein, specific protein called lectin from red algae. They call it Euyuke Masera. And then the lectin was used to immobilize cancer growth at the time. So I was there with my sensei. I forgot. Sorry, my sensei, your name. I forgot his name. So I was there with my sensei, and he taught me about Euyuke Masera and how to isolate the specific protein for like reducing the mobility and also the growth of HeLa cell, the cancer cell growth.
And that was in Hiroshima?
It was in Hiroshima.
Okay. Yeah, right. On a summer school, I just saw that.
Yeah.
And then one interesting part about your CV, which I've never seen this, is social theories, where you have a section on theoretical frameworks.
Yeah.
So can you explain this to me? Is this the ones you learned, or the ones that speak most to you, or what is this?
Yeah, I think the latter, the ones that speak most to me.
Okay, all right.
So, for example, because I learned the social theory, one of them, for example, social practice theory, and I was learning about the social practice theory during my master program. And social practice theory means we focus on the social practices instead of only the theory. That's very contradictory, right? But they call it social practice theory. For example, at the time when I used the social practice theory for understanding why the fishers in Indonesia keep catching baby lobster or juvenile lobsters, and instead of focusing on their attitude and behavior, we focus on their practices. So we look at their technology they use, the site, why they choose the lobster, the juvenile lobster or baby lobster for their target species. And so we focus on their activities, basically. Practices mean activity or their actions, and how their action actually shape their behavior. So the other way around.
Yeah.
So like flipping the logic. Usually we focus on how the behavior shape the action. This one is how the action shape the behavior.
Yeah.
Like then this social practice theory focus on the routinized activity. For example, when you are reading is practices. So this also define you. So it's also shape your behavior that then in turn you become, I don't know, a book lover, for example, something like
Yeah,
that.
nice. Yeah, this perspective flipping. You do that
A lot.
a lot. That's cool. I love it. Like, one of the theories that you mentioned here is feminist geopolitics, and you've also applied this in the paper that we talked about
Yes.
before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where you flipped. Or sorry, do you want to say it?
Yeah. It's so basically when we talk about geopolitics, let's say the most controversial one, let's say the invasions of Russia to Ukraine, for example, we focus on Putin and the Ukrainian leader, but we forgot on the bodies, how this invasion affected the bodies, which is the Ukrainian people body. So the feminist geopolitics sort of flip the logic there. Instead of focusing on the conflict between these two leaders, of course they are important.
Yeah.
We focus on the vulnerable, fragile bodies of the Ukrainian citizens that they, for example, have to go abroad and then deal with the cultural shock, learn new language, and maybe missing a lot of history there. So we instead of focusing on the story of the state geopolitics, we're focusing on the body where they are affected intimately by the conflict. The same is for the tin diving. Instead of focusing on the international tin operations, we focus on the bodies on which the tin international intervention, managed special planning, this kind of regulatory intervention actually affect the tin divers bodies, and the other way around, how the tin divers body affect the international regulatory interventions itself.
That's
something like that.
Super interesting. Yeah, I love that perspective flipping. And other people seem to like it as well, since you've won an award for it. So
I don't know. I think it was a beginner luck, maybe.
Okay, you think so?
I don't know, but I tried to kind of like experiment the concept there.
Yeah, nice. How did you get into this? Like, when did you first do it? This perspective flipping in writing, or I don't know, in everyday life, if you do it as well.
Yeah, because I read a lot of like science technology studies scholars, and we had discussions, Kate and I. So I think I was inspired a lot by my supervisors, of course.
Okay, yeah.
To think like beyond like the norm, I would say, and try to assess critically. For example, when we talk about sustainability, is it really sustainable? Then we look, instead of looking at the standard practices of sustainability, we focus on how it has been implemented in the field. So we are looking at the field instead of the documents, something like that. So flipping.
Yeah, super interesting.
Logic flipping.
Yeah, exactly. And then your work experience and employment history. You mentioned that from May 2019 to September 2019, you worked on value chains and partnership at Alun Aqua.
Yeah.
So basically I find this quite interesting, because it's like assessing a value chain of shrimp. Is it like shrimp farms? Or
Yes, shrimp farms.
Right.
It was about shrimp farms. So I was assessing the shrimp farm value chain, Vanami shrimps in Indonesia, because we are one of the largest shrimp producer. Yeah, apart from China, I think we are the second or the third. And so I assessing their what kind of feed they use, where they actually have the farm, and what are difficulties that they encounter to export their shrimps. Yeah, and try to connect the farmers with the feed companies. What kind of like governance interventions or like practices that may help the local shrimp farmers.
And you mentioned in there that this is together with NGOs and government and private actors?
Yes.
So, okay,
yes.
Right.
These three sisters, I would say.
Okay. Okay. What's the NGO role in this?
So the NGO role, usually they focus on the things that are not being assessed. For example, like the well-being of the shrimp farmers.
Okay, yes.
Or like ecological assessment.
Yeah.
Right, because the feed companies only focus on the revenue.
Yes. And
focus on, for example, the productions of the shrimp farmers.
Okay.
But then like the NGO tried to add more aspect that could provide, like more comprehensive view of the shrimp farming.
Yeah. And that's something you mentioned as well in your social theories. Well-being theory is one of your major ones. And you also applied this to Fisheries Progress? Is
Yeah.
that what they're called?
Yeah, Fisheries Progress is again the American non-profit organization.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And then Fisheries Progress has an application and a website called Fish Choice.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to help like the global north customers
Yeah.
to find like or to trace the fish they eat.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use their app, you know. And my role there is to help or to communicate or to make sure that the translations of the policy that Fish Progress made is understandable for fishermen in Indonesia, because the fishermen are the ones that implement the policy.
Yeah.
So I'm helping them to translate
Nice.
their fishery progress guideline for local fishers
into the language of Bahasa?
Bahasa, yes.
Bahasa, okay, right. And that's your native language? Or?
That's my national language. My
Okay.
native language is Javanese language. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So these two you speak fluently.
These two I speak fluently.
Okay.
Yeah.
and what about Dutch and German? I saw those in your CV.
Yeah. I'm still learning Dutch. However, Dutch and Dutch.
Yeah.
I have the Dutch is, I think, still there because we are actually borrowing a lot of words like Dutch word. But for Dutch, I'm still learning from
No, sorry, no pressure.
the German. But yeah, because right now I try to balance the time for my work and the time for my family. It's really hard to juggle. But but on everyday basis, talking to my neighbor, I use my broken German, and they are happy.
I bet they're super happy with you being that adaptable. It's nice.
They're so kind of my neighbors.
Yeah.
Cheers to my neighbors, my flat.
Did your family move with you to here?
Yes.
Yeah.
My wife and my 2 kids move with me here.
Yeah, nice.
We live in Krayenburg, if you know.
Yeah.
It's quite far, not that far, 15 minutes from the city center.
Yeah. Nice. Do you bike here from there or?
No, we haven't bought a bike or subscribe a bike rent.
Okay.
So I always use bus, like the campus bus, to go to this office. To go to our office.
Sweet. How's living in Germany with the family?
I love Oldenburg so much.
You do? Yeah.
Nice. No, this is not sugarcoating at all. My wife and I really love Oldenburg so much, and we hope that maybe in the future we can get employed by HIFMB for a postdoc.
Oh yeah,
okay,
right.
Know,
yeah,
right?
I was gonna ask what's next.
Cool.
Okay.
But, we really enjoy. And our neighbor is so sweet. So we really enjoy living here in Oldenburg. It's very peaceful. Yeah. And a very friendly city, so we really love it.
Nice.
So much. It feels like home.
Yeah. If I may ask, please let me know if that's too personal. But what's raising 2 kids during a PhD like?
It means that you will have lack of sleep every night.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And then, it was really hard because I want to spend more time with them. But in real life, we have to make a trade-off.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell my wife, that I'm so thankful for her sacrifice. I think she's my rock, my wife. So it's really hard. But at the same time, I have to acknowledge my privilege because I'm here because of the sacrifice of my wife. So I don't want to take for granted for her sacrifice, which means that I have to work hard.
Yeah.
And I don't want to dramatize that. I think I enjoy it. So it's really nice because when I go home, then I can forget about my work and be busy with kids and Netflix. So it's really nice actually to have kids during the PhD, despite the sleepless night, for example.
You started in 2021?
Yes.
Your PhD?
Yes.
So your second child was born during?
During the fieldwork.
Yeah, all right.
In
nice.
2022.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was a really hard time.
Yeah, okay. Did you get to live anywhere close to where you grew up or during fieldwork? Or
during the fieldwork, we decided to I need to live in the fieldwork, in the field site where I conducted the fieldwork, and my wife went back to our island, to our hometown.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
And so we kind of having this long distance relationship
Yeah.
while I was collecting the data.
Yeah, that must be
And
hard.
yeah, she was pregnant. So it was really hard because at that time, during my fieldwork, sorry for being too personal.
No, it's-
So during my fieldwork, for example, I couldn't meet my father because my father passed away, and I still collected the
Oh.
data, and I was working with the company, so I could not like go away all of a sudden to visit my my late father, right?
Yeah.
And then I had to book the flight and so on and so forth. But above that, I think there's a good thing from this story, because if my wife was not pregnant at that time,
Mhm.
we may not have seen our father for the last time. So there was blessing in disguise,
Yeah.
if you will, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's a part of the PhD life, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you agree with me or not, but there is a feminist scholar from Australia, Barbazon, 2023. She also had a vlog or podcast like this, and she said that PhD exists not to make you happy. PhD exists to make a bridge between your current life to your future life,
Yeah.
which is I feel like that's so true.
Yeah. I totally agree with it.
Yeah,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. That's exactly why I did it as well. It's because it's kind of needed in the academic, or at least in my field. And that's exactly why I did my PhD as a bridge for my life now.
And it was hard as well, right?
Yeah, not nowhere near as hard as yours. I'm sure. I didn't have all these hardships like that you encountered, but yeah, it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Push.
Cheers for all.
Yeah, exactly.
PhD people.
But it was definitely worth it, and
It is.
and a lot of fun as well.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
I met you, met everyone here. They are lovely
Yes.
people. I think it's a privilege because we are paid for producing knowledge.
Mm.
It's a privilege by itself,
Yeah.
and not many people will have this kind of privilege. So we have to own that privilege and do it properly. Yeah.
That's so nicely said.
Yeah. Really great again from Barbazon. She also said that great scholar should not run away from difficulty
Exactly.
and hardship.
Yeah.
I think that's all PhD students.
Mhm.
Yeah, not romanticizing difficulty, no, but that is like the value that we have to
Yeah, I get
carry on.
Totally agree with it. So what's the status now of your PhD? Are you done with fieldwork?
I'm done with my fieldwork, and now I'm finishing my dissertation outline that I will present during my third TSC meeting. So hopefully, my TSC committee, Disease Advisory Committee, will be satisfied with the progress.
When
and
is it?
It will be on 9 October.
Oh, okay,
this
right.
year.
really soon. Okay. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Do you feel ready?
I think I feel ready with the dissertation outline.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, hopefully, still, of course, reaching toward the end.
Yeah. I mean, with the chapter you presented here today, I feel like this is such incredible work, and definitely,
Thank you.
yeah, you're an incredibly bright scholar, I think.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm flattered. But thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for bringing all this to us. So we're already at the 45-minute mark. This went by quickly.
This feels so fast.
Yeah, I know. You already mentioned where you would want to be next. You would want to stay in Oldenburg?
I want to stay in Oldenburg if
Yeah.
I can get my postdoc,
Yeah.
or anywhere in Europe, probably, especially Germany or the Netherlands.
Yeah, okay. Nice.
So that is like my target. So I try to get my work published so that I can apply for a postdoc, because right now postdoc requirement demands publications.
Yeah. But you've got some publications already.
Yeah, one.
Okay, right.
Two. Two. The second one is second author.
Okay, yeah. And for your PhD requirement, does it need to, do you have to have publications published, or?
It's still quite liquid or fluid right now, because Kim and I were thinking about like whether we could like make this paper into chapters or the other one, largely depending on the review process and publication process. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay.
Because I'm under 3-year PhD model. That if I, for example, need my work get published, however, it takes so much time. So I think it's not possible, right? Because
Yeah.
we need to be strategic with the time. I think that's what I want to say.
Did you get any COVID extensions or anything? Or
We're gonna discuss these PhD extensions
Okay.
with my TSC committee.
Yeah.
So it's something that we need to discuss in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I wish
But
you all the best of
thank
luck
you.
with it.
Thank you very much. Wish me luck. I hope that I can nail this PhD project and
I'm sure.
be successful because I'm I'm a warrior.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah. You are for sure. Okay. Is there anything that you feel like we didn't mention that you want to cover?
I want to say thank you very much for having me and
No
for
worries.
inviting me. And we are materializing this podcast
Yeah.
with me because we were already planning since October
Yeah,
or
I know.
September 2021.
Yeah,
So
like
it
a
was
year ago.
already in the past. But I was dealing with visa issues and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And now I'm here. So I'm so glad to meet you here in person. Thank you very much
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks so much for
for the very
coming.
nice questions.
Yeah. It's been super interesting. I love your work and I hope it
Thanks.
continues and gets published soon.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Thanks. See you around.
Want to dive deeper? Surf over to hifmb.de or follow us on Twitter at hifmb_OL.